Hello, my people. It's Julian, the channel going by the name Lion Spirit. Yes, today I have a very nice story for you. And you know, I only needed 40 years to understand The Lord of the Rings. And I will reveal to you the whole story and insights I have. So let's get started. See, to introduce this whole topic, we have to understand the man who wrote this book, this epic, and his name is J.R.R Tolkien, and he was a genius. You have to read his biography if you want to know deeper details about him. But he was highly educated. He was working, he got one letter in the Oxford Dictionary. Was under his supervision. He was responsible for one letter in the dictionary. So he was a linguistic professor, something like that. And and he developed for his own joy, or maybe also because he went through certain dark times and suffering. Often creativity is enhanced when people go through suffering. So a lot of philosophers and great personalities also went through suffering, and he created a whole world. He created languages, complete languages, out of nothing, just within his mind. He created Elvish and also the language of the orcs, I think, the Stark language, and a huge lore and map of the whole Middle Earth, and dynasties, and everything. It's crazy, and it something like that. I think it has never been done before. No other human being that I am aware of has created such a detailed world. Most fantasy authors will write a story and then invent some background lore wherever it is needed. And it's like if you make a movie, it can be a very nice movie that is very convincing and you don't see any mistakes in the movie, but you simply know, alright, this city that is filmed in the movie is created there. And if you go deeper and go behind the scenes, you will see the world that is being created for the movie, it ends there. But Tolkien, he did it different. He did it the other way around. He first created everything. Everything. The whole world with background stories, ethnic groups, folks, everything. And then he could start to tell any story he wants. And wherever the protagonist moves, he knows what is there. He can just look. Okay, there is these people live there. They speak this language, and this king is at this time in charge in this area. Something like that. So if you compare, let's say, Harry Potter to Lord of the Rings, you can't tell a unicorn from a pony. And I don't want to downplay Harry Potter at all. Not everybody, could write a story like that, and it shows great fantasy, and it's a big accomplishment and well-deserved success, Harry Potter. But you cannot compare it to Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is a whole different kind of animal. This is like if you compare a narcissist to an empath. One is rather shallow if you really test it, and the other one is really deep and infinite, kind of. So let's dive right into it. I want to start with the personality of Aragorn, who is a role model, or an idol, or how you want to call it, a beacon of light for his people. But he can be seen as a positive role model of masculinity in general. He is a great king and a great father, a great leader, and represents the good, basically. In one part of the story, he says, I gave all hope to humanity, but I have not left any hope for myself. So he gave all his hope, all his inspiration, all his protection and security, the feeling of feeling secure, to his people. But then when he is alone, standing in his castle, looking out through the window, looking at the world in the darkness, he will see changes in the world. He will see war dawning. And he knows more than all the people he gave hope to. He knows more. And this automatically means he knows more uncertainties, insecurities, dangers. But still, he provides hope and security amongst the people, so he does not project his fear on the people. He does not get weak and then some sneaky way around, makes his fears, his anxieties, his personal weakness. He does not put it on the people. Not directly and not on a sneaky way back around. He keeps it to himself, to an inner struggle. And this is what a father should do with his children as well. The father will know much more than the children. He has knowledge behind that curtain of protection which the kids are in. The father knows a lot of things. But still, he should not put his own insecurity into the hearts of his own children, right? So Aragorn is a good example for this, right? And the next personality I want to speak about is Gandalf. And he had a teacher, a mentor, going by the name Saruman. And when Gandalf was not stronger than him, like Saruman was still stronger than Gandalf, and Gandalf was Gandalf the Grey. But Gandalf, he had a kind of awakening. So you have to know that The Lord of the Rings is a story that has to be understood by reading between the lines. And Tolkien was a master of seeing through things. He himself must have been highly awake and educated and intuitive, and was his genius too. His book can be seen as a psychological metaphor, things happening in the mind of man as well, and in history of man. So yes, Gandalf the Grey was not stronger than Saruman, but Saruman, who was the mentor of Gandalf, was corrupted, was going on the evil side, going some, bad ways. And Gandalf had this kind of... Gandalf himself was one of the mightiest creatures of whole Middle-earth. He is a very, very, very old wizard, and at some point of the story from Lord of the Rings, he faces a Balrog, which is a huge demon within the darkest place you could imagine, the mines of Moria. And this means that even the strongest and the biggest personalities, they will find a challenge, an enemy that fits them, that matches them. And this is that scene when Gandalf says, "You shall not pass," and he tells his fellows, "Flee, you fools." And then he dives into the darkness with the Balrog, and they fight for a long time and with uncertain outcome. And this is a make or break situation for Gandalf, but it sharpens him, and when he comes back as Gandalf the White, he is basically a new version of himself, reborn, stronger, more focused, reduced to the essentials, And this can be seen as an awakening as well. So you can see this book, Lord of the Rings, often as a psychological process that can happen to people, that happen within humanity, And then we have, of course, Frodo, the ring bearer. And he is a hobbit, an innocent personality with values, with virtues, living a very peaceful life full of love and enjoyment and, humble life, very grounded and not too ambitious, not trying to, this kind of life, the life in the Shire, it's like a perfect, peaceful paradise, right? And then this personality, Frodo, he has a friend, by the way, who also becomes part of the Fellowship of the Rings. His name is Sam. And Sam, again, is the boiled down version of the Shire, what the Shire stands for. This pure, innocent goodness of people. And Sam is almost like a saint that is not aware that he is a saint, because he is so innocent and just good from his own heart, and that's it. That's all about him. When they are in the darkest place you could ever imagine, Sam will, and even Frodo will be doubting, being hesitating to go on, being full of doubt. Then Sam will come and just speak to him and say, "Hey, come on, I will cook something for us. We will eat," and then I sing a song, and we just focus, we just go on. So he is like tunnel visioning on the good things, even if there's only darkness around and doubt. Sam is still finding something good. And this can also be seen as a voice that you have, that Frodo has in his own head, or, it like all the helpers of Frodo, they can also be seen as, we will later come to this, but this is can be parts of your own head, the good voices in your head. A psychologist would call this introject, but positive introject. Okay, and this is Frodo and Sam, and Frodo will have to bear the ring, which the ring stands for all negative things you could think of: temptations, corruption, darkness, destruction, and might over others, control, all these things. And exactly this innocent person that lives in paradise and has the ambition to be a hero saving the world, exactly this person will bear the ring, and exactly this person only is able to withstand the temptations. Only this person can go to the darkest places and still rely on this root of believing in the good, into this, coming from the Shire, from this peaceful, innocent paradise. Only he can withstand the darkest darkness. And this again is embodied by his friend Sam as well. Yeah, and I see parallels there. If you can see the Bible, the paradise of the Bible, and you can see the Israelites that have been slaves. I think they were slaves in Egypt. And this situation, I'm jumping now, is like when Nietzsche made his parable or his analogy of first you are a camel, you let everything on your shoulders, you carry all the weight of the world, you say, yes, I'll take it, yes, I'll take it, yes, I'll take it. And then you become a lion and free yourself from all the slavery. This is what the Israelites did. They freed themselves. They do the exodus and they go to the desert. And this personal development that Nietzsche describes when he says, you are a camel and then you become a lion, you go to the desert, you go to isolation, okay? And then we have Frodo, who also is driven out of paradise. We have also in the Bible the story of the paradise, where apparently they are being driven out. So this has to do something with personal development. This is the way of the person who is tapping into his purpose, right? So Frodo could also have said, oh man, you know what, I don't give a shit about the ring. I want to chill here in the Shire. But he said, all right, I'm doing the heaviest thing possible. I tap into my purpose. I take responsibility for the darkness that has been projected on me. I don't deny it. Even though it doesn't come from me, I still take responsibility for this darkness and face my worst fears. And I just go for it. And this lets his destiny helpers appear. The Fellowship of the Rings are his destiny helpers. And you can see them on a psychological point of view as introjects, as voices, different roles you can go into. But you can also see it as your ancestors, your spiritual team that supports you. You can see it as true destiny helpers around you in your life. And you could see it from a religious point of view as angels, the ministry of angels. So what it says is, if you tap into your purpose and you go on that journey for yourself, facing your fears, the hardest things are internal processes. You have to do them all alone. But there will be a lot of people who help you. So Frodo did not have to shoot 100 arrows into the eyes of his enemies, of his orcs. Legolas did that for him. You do not have to behead 100 orcs. Gimli did that for him, right? So he has all these different characters and warriors around him, and Boromir, he's a human and he is representing a personality that is actually born to serve, because he was tempted by the ring that Frodo has to carry. And it shows that This strong warrior, Boromir, a very strong man, he is weaker than this hobbit in terms of resisting the temptation, and he wants to steal the ring from him because he thinks, I can do something with it, I can do that. But he manages to serve Frodo still. He manages to die for him in a heroic way, and this is the best way he could fulfill his destiny for the greater good, for Frodo, for the Ring Fellowship, And yeah, so again, to bear this darkness, to do all the internal processes, to carry on the ring, finding a way to get rid of it, This Frodo has to do it. The hardest parts of this, Frodo will do it alone, just by himself. And his mental strength and physical strength, it's the same, right? It's just the same. But because he is on this path, all the good forces help him and support him, If he would have stayed in the Shire chilling and say, okay, fuck that ring, I just want to be here having a good lifetime, and deny this outside world, evil things happening, I don't care, then none of them would have helped him. He would have lived his average life in the Shire and at some point get old, and that's it. But because he goes out and does what's necessary, everyone helped him. The mightiest warriors help him. Everyone will support him at his best. Okay? And this is destiny, help us. And the funny thing again, or remarkable, is that this innocent personality, this peaceful personality, is the one who bears the darkness and is able to bring it to that place where it can be destroyed. No other personality could do that. Everybody else would be tempted to abuse it, to use it. As soon as you use it, you abuse it. Understand? Okay. And now I have one cliffhanger for you. Because I described a lot of these personalities, and that you can see it as psychological things happening, like, again, I repeat myself now, the Israelites being freed of slavery in the Bible and going to the desert looking for the promised land. Please do not ever understand it in a geographical or historical way. Otherwise, this can lead to war and killing people, which is a way to understand it is too close to the scripture, if you ask me. You have to see it in a psychological way. This is the only peaceful way to see it. Same with Frodo leaving the Shire, It means you have to leave that comfort zone at some point. If you see that there is this darkness, there is this negativity that is being projected on you, you have to follow this. You have to man up in some way and face your fears. Go out there. That's the purpose, And then your destiny helpers will show up. Your angels, however you want to call it, your ancestors, your strengths. You will meet all this. And you can read the whole book, Lord of the Rings, in that psychological way. Think of the scene when Galadriel is being confronted with Frodo bringing the ring to her. It's a great scene, or you can read it I would recommend to read it, not watching the movies. Best is to read it. And she's tempted to take the ring, but she resists, you know. Psychological processes. Yeah, and now I have this cliffhanger for you. Because there is one character I did not talk about, who is very fascinating. What do you think? What is Gollum then?